We have gone through the 8 different studies in the book, Essential Guide to Becoming a Disciple. But it's not over just yet. We want to finish on the last section, the closing challenge. Are you ready to be all in? Are you ready to be a disciple? Let's go back right now to Greg Ogden, who put together this discipleship series for us. And Greg, there was so much that we gleaned from the past 8 weeks going through this. Do you want to summarize what we've learned so far?
Well, in a sense, I think just you can read that in the last section here of the book and look through those summary comments. I just want to remind us about what this all has been heading toward. And why is this process? We've been trying to lay out, okay, what's that call to be a disciple? What's that look like in our lives? What does it mean to be a disciple in all these different dimensions of our life? Because to remind ourselves, that's our identity. That's who we are. I take my discipleship into my home, to my relationship with my wife, husband, as the case may be, with your children, in the workplace. And so often we live segmented lives. We kind of divide up our lives, and well, that's the Christian life, and that's the other part of life. I go off to work, well, that's a whole different set of values that I have there, my different set of loyalties. I'll kind of check my faith at the door and pick it up when I walk out again, or when I'm at church on a Sunday morning. So the whole idea here is, do we live an integrated life? Is it all out of this common center of our relationship with Jesus? Because that's who we are. And maybe one of the ways to bring this home is to use an image that I think is very powerful. A man by the name of Bob Munger, a Presbyterian pastor, wrote a sermon that later became a booklet called My Heart Christ's Home. And in that sermon, he uses the house or home to describe the nature of the Christian life. And we've kind of like invited Jesus into the home of our life. And of course, we know our homes have different rooms, and different rooms represent different aspects of our life. So you have a kitchen. The kitchen represents our appetites. What do we want Jesus to be in our kitchen, to see what kind of things we're serving up in terms of the appetites and desires of our life? Now, we may have a study in the house. Study represents what goes through our mind, what we place our minds on, what we focus our attention on. Would we be happy to have Jesus into the study of the house of our life? Maybe have a rec room where we do our fun kind of stuff and entertainment and things like that. How about that? Is that something that we would be happy to have Jesus looking over our shoulder in that kind of setting? One of the rooms that Munger describes in this book is our living room. And that living room is kind of the place where we've set aside to meet with Jesus on a daily basis. And it's kind of a comfortable place. You sit on the soft couches in your living room, maybe even have a fire in the fireplace in the wintertime, and you promise to meet with Jesus every day. Jesus, I'll show up, and I know you're going to be here. But then life gets busy, and you start losing that connection. And one day you're kind of rushing out the door, and you glance back into the living room, and you see Jesus sitting there on the couch waiting for you. And you say, Jesus, you've been there every day. Have I failed to show up? And it reminds you, okay, yeah, he wants a relationship with us, that deep, abiding relationship. But then there's also a off-limits place in our house. There's a closet that's got a lock on it. And Jesus walks with you to that closet door, and he says, what's in there? Just some things that I have for myself that I keep in there. They're just the things I enjoy for myself. And Jesus says, I need to see what's behind that closet. Well, it's locked up. You can't get in there. I need the key to that closet door. And you reluctantly hand him the key, and he opens it up and sees some things that you're not too pleased with. And he says, I've got to have it all. So I think my closing challenge is this. Have we invited Jesus to be a guest in our house, and we define the limits? Or have we signed over the title of our house to him? That's what he wants.